afternoon. Welcome, friends and colleagues. If I were a book, I would be a well-worn book. I would have words highlighted, pages dog-eared, and my owner would have definitely lost its pretty cover. I'm not wearing shoes today because I grew up in rural Texas, and I don't need a pretty cover. I grew up with 9 siblings in rural Texas on 10 acres of land. I had plenty of opportunities to do things like drive go-karts, shoot guns. It's Texas. We had tree houses, we had pools, we had everything a child could possibly want and need. But what I didn't realize at that time that I would later on in life would be that I was lacking something. The ability to have interpersonal communication with people outside of my family. See, we were a very religious family. We left home only to go to church, and I was homeschooled. I did not have any friends growing up. I did not have an opportunity to even go to Sunday school. I went to big church with my parents. So I was happy in my bubble until we moved out of my bubble. When I was 13, we moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. My mother had to go back to work. She could no longer homeschool us. So I went to public school along with all of my siblings. I was 13 years old. Not only was this a huge culture shock, everyone, by the way, in church looked just like me, acted just like me. I had never seen anyone who was different. Diversity, oh yeah, I got it in public school. I also had to navigate challenges like, am I allowed to sit at this lunch table? Is what I'm still wearing still cool today? And a group project, we have to present in front of the class? What? I started skipping school. I was so afraid to speak to others. I didn't know how to relate. They were my age, but I didn't know them, and they didn't know me. This was a new world for me. This continued into my high school years as well. I ran away from home. I was so embarrassed to be myself. I was so anxious, so scared. I just could not catch up. So I graduated, but then the fear and the worry carried into the workplace as well. So here I am at TIAA. I interviewed in 2014. I remember I had all the qualifications on paper, but when I got into the interview, I couldn't speak. Luckily, they had my name on my resume because I couldn't tell you who I was. Any type of interpersonal communication, especially in a small room with all attention on me, almost impossible. But I got the job. But the job was difficult. I was expected to be on conference calls. I was expected to be in meetings. I was expected to participate. I had things to say, but then it wouldn't come out. And then when I would open my mouth, what I wanted to say would come out sounding rude, squeaky like a mouse, or I would have tears well up in my eyes. I said, this has got to stop. This is ridiculous. So I went to the doctor, and I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. For those of you who don't know, generalized anxiety disorder is a general feeling of worry and restlessness pretty much all the time, especially in stressful situations. They gave me a pill because we're in America, and that's how I fix things. But I didn't like that. That was just a Band-Aid. And I knew there was a deeper wound there that needed to be healed. So I joined Toastmasters. A lot of you are familiar with Toastmasters because TIAA has a program here. But I was a member of University City Toastmasters. So I forced myself in 2016 to sign up and pay annual dues to public speak. It's like paying for torture. But I went every single Tuesday religiously. And the people there were so much more alike me than I could have ever imagined. They looked different. They had different vocations. They were different ages, but they were all there for the same purpose. It was a safe space. We were all there to learn how to better communicate. They went to public school their whole lives, but they were still there. So that must mean that I'm more normal than I thought I was. So I want to thank you all for being here. This is a safe space. Without Toastmasters, without places like these, none of us could form deeper connections. Because I'll tell you what, it is a lot easier to speak in front of friends than it is strangers. So I appreciate you all being here today. I am not defined by my anxiety. I am defined by my fearlessness, my courage, and my bravery. Thank you.